Good morning, my dear students. I hope you all are keeping well and please be safe. Dear students, today we are going to discuss chapter 9, topic soil. So, dear students, I hope we all might have enjoyed playing in the mud, making heads, toys, etc. out of it in your childhood. Each time you threw mud on each other and spoiled your clothes, you must have been scolded by your parents. Yes, of course, it happened everyone's life. Have you ever wondered what is this mud is made up of? What are the different constituents which make up mud? In this chapter, we are going to study the details of the upper layer of the earth's crust called soil. What is the soil? The uppermost layer of the earth is known as soil, where we run, where we play, where we walk. So it is given in the image also. The layer consists of sand, mud and rock particles, means small pieces of rocks. What is humus? Consists of dead and decayed plants and animals' remains called humus. When animals, plants and human beings, when they die, we bury them under the mud. So after many months, a few years, it decayed and decomposed. That is, so all the nutrients will remain in the soil. It is known as humus. Let us know the importance of soil. Soil is an important natural resource. It helps in growth of plants by holding the roots and supplying water and nutrients. So, soil holds the plant to stand straightly and to grow well. Also, it gives water and nutrients to the plants. Third one, soil is essential for agriculture, which provides us food, clothing and shelter, which is very essential to live in this world. Fourth one, soil is a habitat for several organisms like ants, earthworms, snails, centipedes, millipedes, snakes, rats, beetles, etc. So whatever I have told you, everything you can see in the image. So now we will see soil composition. About 1/5 of the area of the earth's surface is covered with the soil. It is made up of different sized rock particles. These different sized particles influence the properties of soil. Depending on the size, the rock particles are divided into 4 groups. The first one is clay, second one is silt, third one is sand and fourth one is gravel. Clay means the clay consists of the smallest rock particles. These particles are packed tightly together, as a result of which a very little air is present in clay. Water is held in the tiny gaps between the particles. So very less amount of air will be present in clay. So as already I told, it is the smallest rock particles. Next one is silt. Silt consists of slightly bigger rock particles than clay. It is not as smooth as clay. So it will be bigger than clay. Third one is sand. Sand consists of still large rock particles. Since sand particles are quite large, they are not bound closely together. As a result of this, there is a lot of empty space between them, which is filled with air. The large space between the sand particles allows water to drain quickly. So when you come to school, we will do all these activities. We will learn by doing. Fourth one is gravel. These contain the largest rocks particles. Some other components of the soil are also follows. Humus already I have explained. Second one is living organism. Many bacteria, insects and worms live in the soil. Third one is water. Water is also present in the space between soil particles. Plants do not grow without water. Fourth one is air. The gaps between the soil particles are filled with air. Soil organisms use this air for respiration. Next one is formation of soil. The soil formation is the combined effect of physical, chemical and biological process on soil material. Example, rocks. The process is termed weathering. There are two different types of weathering, physical weathering and chemical weathering. Let us know what is physical weathering. Physical weathering, the process of breakdown of large rocks into smaller pieces by the action of natural agents such as wind, rain, glaciers, plant roots, etc. is called weathering. It does not involve any change in the characteristics of the original rock. That means when heavy wind, heavy rain, glaciers, plant roots, when it goes very deep, then the physical weathering takes place. Agents of physical weathering. First one is temperature. So when the expansion and contraction of minerals in the rocks due to variation in temperature form weaker zones and gradually break them apart. So in the rock there are many kinds of minerals. So when it expand and contract, the weaker part or weaker zone gradually break them apart due to different temperature. Second one is water. As we know that water expands when it freezes. So during winter season, the water freezes. So when it freezes, then it expands, then it becomes cracked and it becomes smaller rock. Third one, plant roots. As you know, root penetrate great depths for the absorption of water and nutrients. They push their way across the rocks in earth's crust. The extension of pressure by the roots of plants thus causes weathering of rocks leading to the formation of soil. So when the big trees need water and nutrient, the root of the tree goes down. So when it goes down of the soil profile, when the rock is there, it will penetrate the rock and it will go inside to get water and nutrients. So when it goes, then it will break down. Next one we are going to see about chemical weathering. It is a process in which existing minerals are broken down into mineral components. It takes place due to the following factors: organic acids, water, chemical reactions and acid rain. Organic acids released during decomposition of organic matter dissolve rocks faster. For example, carbonic acid can completely dissolve limestone. So, during decomposition of organic matter dissolve rocks faster. Second one, water. Usually rainwater seeps into rocks and loses the rock's particles by dissolving it. Third one is chemical reaction are also taking place in the rocks internally and causing rock losing. So inside the rocks there are many chemicals. When the chemical reaction takes place, then weathering also takes place. Fourth one is acid rain. It is a prime cause of chemical weathering. Means it is an important cause for chemical weathering. Weathering is a gradual process which takes hundreds of years. A few layers of soil are formed over a long period of time. Next one is soil profile. Soil profile is a vertical section through the soil which reveals its different layers. So a particular land if we take, soil if we take, and vertically if we take little deeply. Soil profile consists of visually differentially colored and texturally distinct layers which are called horizons. The depth and the chemical composition also different in each layer. The different horizons of the soil from top to the bottom are A horizon, B horizon, C horizon and R horizon. So the first top most layer of the soil is called A horizon. It is very rich in humus. It is also rich in minerals needed by plants for their growth. It is also very soft and porous, means water can go inside easily. B horizon or subsoil lies just below the topsoil. It is also called subsoil. It is also very small population of living organism and less fertile as compared to A horizon. It contains comparatively less amount of humus, rich in minerals, etc. And C horizon. It is made up of small lumps of rocks. Lumps means a small amount of rock. These rocks have cracks in them, formed due to weathering of bedrock. Plant roots do not penetrate this layer. Very little organic material is found in this layer. Last one is R horizon or bedrock. So this is known as parent rock. The parent rock produces soil over a long period of time. The parent rock is very hard. This consists of unwanted rock layer that is beneath all the other layers. So it is very hard. So most of the small plants, it never go and reach till the R horizon or bedrock. Next one we are going to see about classification of soil. First one is sandy soil. In sandy soil, the particles are very large in size. They have more space between the particles filled with air. They do not retain water and are light and dry. So easily it will dry and it is very light. Also, it is large in size. They have more space between the particles filled with air. Henceforth, water do not retain. Means it will not absorb water. Second one, clay soil. In clay soil, the particles are smaller. They have less space between the particles and has less air. They retain more water and are heavy weight. So when we carry, they are very heavy since it is wet. Third one is loamy soil. In loamy soil, the particle size is between those of sand and clay. It contains humus and has the right water holding capacity. So it is the best soil for the growth of plants. So here they have shown sandy soil, loamy soil and clay soil. So percolation rate of water. How fast water passes through the soil. Water percolates faster through sandy soil and slower through clayey soil. So here they have given sandy loam. So classification based on mixture of different soils, sandy and loamy, silty and soil. Then classification based on place of formation, red soil. This soil is red in color due to the presence of iron oxides. It contains quarters of clay particles and is deficient in nitrogen and humus. In India, this soil is found chiefly in the interior regions of Andhra Pradesh, Odisha and Madhya Pradesh. Black soil. It is very rich in minerals and humus. It is porous in nature, means water will go nicely. The soil contains large proportions of the minerals, iron and magnesium, as it is formed from the basaltic rocks. This soil is ideally suitable for the cultivation of cotton and sugarcane. Mostly we found them in southwest Uttar Pradesh, eastern Rajasthan and southern Haryana. So here in Haryana we will find black soil. Alluvial soil. It is formed by the deposition of silt brought down by the mountains by the rivers. This soil is very fertile and rich in humus. The soil is suitable for cultivation of wheat, rice and sugarcane. In India, this soil is mainly found in plains of Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, West Bengal, etc. Next one is laterite soil. It is red in color and is found in regions of heavy rainfall, that is in highly tropical climates. The soil is rich in nutrients and is good for the growth of the plantation crops such as tea, coffee and coconut. So they are mostly found in Western Ghats parts of the Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha and Assam. Next one is desert soil. This soil contains a large proportion of sand. It is grayish brown in color, porous in texture and rich in soluble salts. It does not have good water holding capacity. It doesn't have cactus, ruscus and other plants which do not need much water for their growth grow in this soil naturally. In India, it is chiefly found in Rann, Kutch in Gujarat and in Rajasthan. Last one is mountain soil. This is a highly fertile soil and has the highest humus content among the soils in India. It is found in the Himalayan region and in northeastern India. Next one is properties of soil. Soil color, soil structure and percolation rate. So as we have seen, there are many colors of soils: red, yellow, brown, etc. Soil structure of all the soils is different. Some soil particles are very easily stick to each other, whereas some soil particles do not stick each other. Example, clay is very sticky and sand doesn't stick. Percolation rate. Percolation is the rate at which water moves through the soil. Perform the following activity to found. So in your book there are many activities they have given. Just try to do it. Absorption of water by soil. Different soil have different water holding capacities. Different soils absorb water to different extents. Next is soil and crops. So cereal crops, reddy crops, pulses, cotton, coconut trees. So which soil it will grow nicely. So coconut means sandy soil. Cotton means sandy soil and loamy soil. Pulses means loamy soil. Reddy crops means it is well in soils that are clay and rich in organic matter. Cereal crops like wheat and legumes like gram grow well in clay and loamy soils. Last one we are going to see soil pollution. So all these things we have seen. So this is the image of parental rock undergoing change. So there are